The migratory birds agreement is actually been ratified for the exact purpose to take active action for ensuring a viable flyway for the birds during their migration process. So the country has to show commitment that they are actively investing into protecting these flyways. Building an airport right in the middle of the migration corridor of many species of birds within Albania actually goes towards the international will and the international obligations that Albania has ratified. Albania is aspiring to join the European Union, and to do that they have to prove that they are actually at the same level as European countries when it comes to nature conservation. The two main directives that drive nature conservation in the European Union are the Habitats Directive and the Birds Directive. Both of them are heavily infringed in the case of building an international airport within the Nart Vjosa protected area. So this is a serious threat towards the accession path of Albania within the European Union. The European Commission actually explicitly addressed this issue in their progress report of 2019 and 2020 for Albania. The airport is right in the middle of the two biggest lagoon habitats in Albania, Karavasta Lagoon in the north and Narta Lagoon in the south. These two lagoons actually compose one unique interconnected ecosystem. That means that the birds that are present in Karavasta, they fly over within the day in Narta and vice versa. The birds in Narta, they fly into Karavasta. Now you can imagine that these lagoons are inhabited by rather large birds. There are pelicans, there are flamingos, which are birds that have a considerable size, and they move within the day from one lagoon to the other to feed, to rest, to reproduce. So it's really important that this interconnection is upkept. Now imagine an airport being in the middle of these two lagoons, and imagine the way the airplanes are planned to land and take off actually crisscrosses with the way how the birds are moving in between these two lagoons. This would be tremendous for birds because many of them could be interrupted from their daily activities to survive, but actually quite threatening for the direct life of birds, but also quite threatening for the lives of people, because there is a huge risk of planes colliding with these huge birds and actually posing a significant threat to the safety of the people that will be in those planes as well. The area that we are talking has never been an international airport. It has been a landing strip for small planes, usually for non-civilian purposes, so military or agricultural planes, and for a very short period of time in the 60s and 70s. So you have never had an international airport there that would have 20 or 30 planes landing and taking off per day. But this matters very little, because in 2004 the area was declared a protected area. And it was declared a protected area because at the moment the area is valuable for its natural values. So what we have said is that what has happened in the past, that is in the past, and that means that from now in the future we're going to protect this area by keeping nature in mind. It's the same analogy if we have the ruins of a very old city like Apollonia or Butrint, and if we now decide, because these ruins have been cities 2,000 years ago, now let's start building skyscrapers in the natural and historic monuments there. That would be a disaster. It's the same thing that happens with Vjos Narta now. There we have nature now, and it's nature what we need to protect. Let's not make mistakes that we will regret for many, many generations to come. We need to preserve the natural environments, we need to preserve the birds that are there, because we can have much more profit for the decades to come by preserving birds and by choosing models of developments that focus around nature and around birds, rather than taking models of development that are quite intensive and are quite aggressive, and from which only a few will profit, but many, many will lose.